Hello. It's day 2 of a 30-day adventure we're having together. This is a 30-day Akashic energy, real-time adventure where we are going to find the joy and the nourishment and the sustenance that is going to bring us through whatever big time of change and growth and hi fairy and loss and anything we're going through, right? So much is happening in the world right now. And I realized this is the part of the book that I really want to focus on for these 30 days. And so this is a 30-day adventure that's also in celebration of my book that I just released, Dark Times Catering, which is my own experience of really working with the process we're going to work through in this 30 days in the hardest time of my life. Now, some people have said yesterday when I opened this this whole experience, I don't know why it was blurry down there. It's not blurry today. You can see my morning jacket shirt. This was they are an amazing band to see live if you haven't seen them. They are very into bears, which feels very appropriate for Asheville. People really like this shirt here, I've noticed. And I also, because of the mirror thing, some people wanted to see the cover yesterday that couldn't see the cover. So I just want to flip this. So this is now the cover right here, Dark Times Catering, and the two sides of the cover. So yeah, this was like a whole process. Hi, hun. Hi, Steph. Welcome back. This is a whole process to create this cover. One half representing Venice Beach and Miami Beach, which is where my brother had just moved when he passed. The other side of the cover representing like the descent and the travel into grief, into emptiness, into like the winter of life, and also like moving back to New York. And the train I have to take, there's like a whole part of the book where I have to bring all of Gabe's things back on this auto train. The train makes another appearance later on in the book, and so that's why I wanted to make sure to have a train. And that's also like the experience, right? The energy of grief and transformation bringing us somewhere else. So that's the cover. And the fun thing about doing this for a month is I can continue to adjust. So thank you to everyone who's been, sharing the book and also sharing with me what an important time it is to talk about finding nourishment, finding a way to receive and fill up and feel joy and have what you need to keep moving during really hard times. I've actually gotten a lot of messages in the last 24 hours of like people who are just, going through it because it's a 9-year. And we're in the last few months of a year where things have to end. They have to die. The new way has to come forward. And so there's massive transformation happening for all of us, also in the world, right? Just there's a global story and there's also the personal stories that make up that tapestry. So I'm excited we're going to be doing that. And each day I'm going to bring in a thread from the book, from Dark Times Catering. And I'm just going to let it in real time show up. So today, the thread we're going to work with when it comes to bringing in the joy and the nourishment that's here for us is permission. Like, we first have to want it to work. And that really came to me yesterday because after I did the launch online yesterday, I went to meet a friend to eat. And she is like an amazing practitioner and works with different types of plant medicines and in the world of health. And she is creating a product that allows people to actually bless their medicines, whether it's pharmaceutical or plant or spiritual or whatever it is. And like, she really brought up this amazing story of how when she was dealing with health issues in the past, like that she had this realization and someone reflected to her the realization of like, you have to give the medicine permission to work with you. And I loved that because I think sometimes we know that when we're talking about something more metaphysical or spiritual or plant medicine. It's like there's almost a knowing that there's like a consciousness and you're in ceremony. And then there's a lot of other things in our life that we're not thinking of in the same way, like maybe a pharmaceutical medicine, or even just like the things that happen in our life where it's like, this is the medicine you've got to take right now. The big changes in our life, the big trials and tribulations that happen where it's like, this is the medicine. And you have to give the medicine permission to work with you. And so I just like, as soon as she said that, I just got the pang of, oh, that's actually where we need to begin today, because we first have to have permission for the nourishment to reach us and for the medicine to work with us. And so we'll go into that in a moment. At a certain point during this, I'm also going to read to you a little piece, which is in the book, which is actually just the letter to the reader. For me, writing a letter to the reader was actually a big part of the permission, because I actually ask for permission to bring you on this journey. You know, the story is intense, and also I'm an energy worker. The book is encoded with energies that are designed to open you and to connect you to your version of the story. And it's very intentional the way I created this. And I wanted to make sure, you know, sometimes like we don't know. I didn't want to create like a trigger warning or a content warning. That didn't feel like the thing. But I wanted to make sure that people had like I had their permission, and that they had given themselves permission to really be impacted. And I think that's like an important part of being a practitioner and being in relationship with people and having deep connection, is like permission to be impacted. And so that's like part of the energy of why I start the book with the letter to the reader, is to really like ground and presence that from the beginning of like, hey, are you ready? Thank you. Are you ready to be, hi, hey Nia, are you ready to be impacted? Permission to be impacted. Okay, like we're going to start with permission with the letter to the reader, and that gives someone a moment to like connect and open and be ready to receive the experience they're going to have from the book. But in this 30-day experience of really bringing in nourishment and joy, it's the same thing, is like really looking at what is the medicine in our life right now? What is the literal medicine, the metaphorical medicine, the spiritual, energetic, emotional? And I want you to bring in like the things that have been really challenging are often the medicine we're taking right now. So the question I have for you today is, are you allowing the medicine to work with you? Have you given the medicine permission? I have another piece to that, but let's start there. So you're just going to drop in. Letting yourself really drop into your heart. Oh, thank you. And let yourself feel, what is the medicine in my life right now? What is something I wasn't realizing is the medicine that I'm taking, and now I realize, oh shit, that's the medicine I'm taking. Just letting yourself feel what that is. Letting anything you need to release, maybe judgment, shame, whatever it is, that can go now that you're in that reality. And then what is like here to nourish me, nurture me, hold me? What's something in my life I can appreciate in this moment? Notice if it has permission to support you. And just breathing in here. So that first question created a release. And this next question is activating a receive. Let's just stay with that for a few breaths. And then the question I have for you is, where are you medicine in the world, in a relationship? Where are you the medicine? And have you been given permission to be the medicine? By the other. And you can just feel it, like, yeah, they're open to receiving that from me, or like they actually don't want this medicine right now. Just notice what comes up. Hey, Pavan. And then before we finish here right now, just asking yourself the question, like, have I given myself permission to be the nourishment and be the medicine? Am I waiting for one more training or one more whatever, or for the whole world to acknowledge me before I let myself be medicine? Before I let myself be nourishment, which, by the way, could just be how you like walk into a convenience store and interact with the people in there. I was actually in a conversation with a client today where it's like, and Pavan, you inspired me with that, when it's just like, hey, if your path is here to be nourishment and love and medicine, it's going to look like a lot of different things. And some of them are more impressive sounding, and some of them may feel more humbling. It's actually all the fucking same. If you're here to be the nourishment, to be the medicine, to be the love, that's just what you are. And you just start having this life where you experience that. So are you giving yourself the permission to be that? You could give yourself that permission right now. Just breathing it in. I have permission to be the medicine, the love, the joy, the nourishment. In every situation, wherever I feel I'm called, I have my own permission to live my highest path. Breathing that in. Exhaling out, letting it land in your heart. And that is beginning to roll your ankles. If you went in deep, if you're watching this live or recorded, just putting a hand where you feel it, you need it on your body for a minute. Great. And so that's where we're starting, just to pull it all together. We're in this 30-day adventure of finding nourishment and joy. And this book is kind of that sort of adventure as well. And in both cases, we have to begin with permission. We have to allow the medicine, the nourishment, the joy, the love in. We have to allow ourselves to be impacted. And sometimes we're feeling like our boundaries are being crossed so much just by the state of the world that we sometimes are blocking letting in the thing we need, because it's just like, oh my God, the world, it's just so much. And, and it's like, really getting in touch with like what has my permission to impact me right now and what doesn't. And this is a real moment to have like a sword of truth around that. Like what has your permission to impact you right now, to nourish you, to heal you, and what doesn't. That's our work right now. Now, before we complete, I really just want to speak to something else around this, which is that, you know, I'm talking a lot about like, oh, get in touch with that and create the permission and open to it. But I also just want to say that sometimes we're really going through something where we're not ready to receive the healing yet. We're not ready to receive the medicine yet. And I was thinking about that today. Like sometimes we've got to go all the way down. We've got to go into the rage. We've got to go into the feeling of there's no one here and there's no support. And that, you know, like we've got to go into, I don't know how this gets better. And we have to play that out. I don't know if you've ever had the experience where you already are on a roll about being angry and frustrated about something. And then like suddenly it turns out like, oh, actually I didn't lose that thing. It's right here. Or like, actually it is going to work out the way I need to. Or, you know what I mean? And it's like, have you ever felt that moment of disappointment because you were ready to be pissed because something in you actually needed to be alchemized through that anger and through that grief? You weren't quite ready to be rescued from that. I want to really speak to that too, because that's actually something I talk about in this book as well. Because when I went all the way down where, you know, I felt like I had lost everything, I was just deeply hurt and disappointed and devastated. And I wasn't ready for that to change yet, because the loss of my brother and the activation that getting sick with the mold created opened every door that had been closed and every window that had been closed that needed to get opened and aired out. And I hadn't realized, like, for example, like I hadn't, like when my dad died, and that was like the first initiation into doing this work 21 years ago. It's like, I had never gotten to fully grieve that because I just went right back into like, I wanted to keep up. I had to go back to college. We had to be inspirational. We had to like heal everyone with what had happened. And, you know, like I didn't know how to have space for the rage and the grief and survive and continue on. Like I didn't know how to have space, and there's actually space for both, but maybe you don't always have space for both when you're 20 years old, right? And everyone had been sick for years previous to that. So when my brother passed, it was like I could get in touch with things I hadn't been able to get in touch with yet. And so sometimes things happen where we need to let the thing move for a while before we're ready to get out of it. And I know for me that there was just a while where it was like, I don't want to heal from this. Like I am not okay with a world where this could happen to him. Like I'm not... I don't want to move beyond this. And there was a lot of people that were well-intentioned, and I talk about that in the book, that were well-intentioned, that were like, oh, you're going to move on and you're going to smile again. And, you know, don't worry, as if I'm worried about that. Well, I'm like the most devastated I've ever been in my life. And I'm there and I just have to be there. It's like, don't worry, like it's going to be all right. And literally when people would say that to me, I felt like I was going to be ill, like physically ill. Like I had a repulsion to that because I wasn't ready. I didn't have permission yet to be ready to take in the medicine that would like move me out. I needed to go all the way down and really be in that for a while. And that was the medicine I needed. That was the medicine I needed. And so that's why I'm speaking to that in this 30 days of like, there's the medicine we need just to survive. And then there's like the medicine we need to move on, to move forward, right? And then there's the medicine we need to like really embrace life and joy. And like, it's different medicine at different times. So I just want to speak to that too. So today we're starting with permission, and it's like, where would you like to give, where are you realizing something actually is medicine in your life right now? Where are you realizing there's joy and nourishment, or there could be in your life right now? Do you have permission for that? Where is there a type of medicine where like you're not actually ready for it to get better yet? You need to be here. You need to feel this. And can you have permission for that? And then where are you here to be the nourishment and the medicine? And where are you waiting for some sort of permission outside of yourself? Sometimes there's a relationship where we do need that, like, consent. But if we're just here to be who we are and be light, it's like, give yourself that permission now and begin to notice, like, notice how you're a blessing. It's fun. It's fun to know that your real job here is to be a blessing. And I'm telling you, when you really get in touch with that, you'll notice every day the way you're blessing the environment. So that's where we are today. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, this is a 30-day celebration for, let me show you it one more time. For Dark Times Catering. You can get it everywhere, but I have the links for it. And we are also going to have an opening ceremony on October 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, I'm just excited to keep going with you. But that was the transmission that's here today. I'd love to hear what's here for you. I'd love to hear what sort of permission you connected with today. And that's how we begin. All right. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Blessing you.